Imagine this. Every Christmas, instead of toys or gadgets, Santa gives you one share of the S&P 500 index fund.
Fancy Santa.
Fast forward to your 18th birthday. How much do you think those shares would be worth? The answer might surprise you. In today's video, we'll dive into the numbers, reveal the magic of compounding, and uncover why this could be the ultimate financial gift. Stick around until the end, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating money scenarios. Welcome to Millionaire Hypotheticals, the channel where we explore fascinating money scenarios and uncover their hidden potential. Today's question is simple but powerful. What if Santa gave you one share of the S&P 500 index fund every year from birth until you turned 18? How much would that be worth today, and what can it teach us about investing? We'll dive into the history of the S&P 500, calculate the total value of this hypothetical gift, and even compare it to other popular investments like Bitcoin. Make sure to stick around until the end for a surprising twist. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more. The S&P 500 is a collection of the top 500 companies in the United States. Think of it as a snapshot of the US economy. Over the past few decades, the S&P 500 has averaged an annual return of about 10%, making it one of the most reliable ways to grow wealth over time. For example, back in 2005, one share cost around $100. Today, that same share is worth over $500. But the real magic lies in how these shares grow year after year when combined with compounding returns. To understand why the S&P 500 is so powerful, let's break it down a bit further. It's made up of companies from a wide range of industries like tech giants such as Apple and Microsoft, healthcare companies like Johnson & Johnson, and even consumer favorites like Amazon and Coca-Cola. This diversity makes it a relatively safe investment because even if one sector struggles, others might be thriving. Think of it like a team of 500 players. If one has an off day, the others can carry the game. Another important aspect of the S&P 500 is how it reflects the health of the overall economy. When the index grows, it usually means businesses are doing well, consumers are spending, and innovation is driving success. Historically, the S&P 500 has recovered from every major economic downturn, including recessions and market crashes, proving its resilience over the long term. This resilience and diversity make the S&P 500 a popular choice for long-term investors, including retirement accounts and index funds. That's why Santa's hypothetical gift of an S&P 500 share each year is not just thoughtful, it's financially savvy too. If you could own a piece of any company in the S&P 500, which one would it be? Comment below. Compounding is like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, but over time, it grows bigger and faster. If you reinvest dividends, the money you earn gets reinvested to earn even more. For example, $100 with a 10% return grows to $110 in the first year. By the second year, that $110 earns 10% and so on. Over 18 years, even small contributions can turn into a significant sum. To see compounding in action, let's take the example of someone who started investing in their early 20s. Meet Sarah. Sarah invested $200 a month in an S&P 500 index fund, starting at age 22. By the time she reached 40, her investments totaled just $43,200 in contributions. But thanks to the power of compounding, her account grew to nearly $100,000 during that time. Now, if Sarah leaves that money untouched and allows it to keep compounding until age 60 without adding another dime, it could grow to over $500,000, thanks to compounding returns. All this happened because Sarah started early, consistently invested small amounts, and reinvested her dividends. Imagine what could happen if someone started even earlier, like at birth with Santa's hypothetical yearly gift of one share of the S&P 500. The earlier you start, the more time compounding has to work its magic. Now let's crunch the numbers. If Santa gave you one share of the S&P 500 every year, starting at birth, you'd accumulate 18 shares by your 18th birthday. With dividends reinvested, those 18 shares could be worth around $15,000 today. Without reinvestment, they'd be worth closer to $9,000. That's a $6,000 difference, just from letting the magic of compounding do its work. Let's add a twist. What if Santa gave you the equivalent value in Bitcoin instead? Bitcoin's growth has been explosive, but it's also incredibly volatile. While $1,000 in Bitcoin might be worth much more today, it also could have dropped significantly. The S&P 500, on the other hand, offers steady, long-term growth with less risk. It's not as flashy, but it's reliable, like the tortoise in the tortoise and hare race. Let's put this comparison into numbers. Imagine Santa gave you $100 worth of Bitcoin every year for the past 18 years, starting in 2005. Back then, Bitcoin didn't exist until 2009, so your first 4 years would have nothing. By 2010, Bitcoin was worth fractions of a penny. Your $100 would have bought about 25,000 Bitcoins. By 2021, at Bitcoin's peak of over $60,000 per coin, just that year's gift would have been worth over $1.5 billion. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. By 2022, Bitcoin's value plummeted to under $20,000 per coin. That same 25,000 Bitcoins would now be worth around $500 million, a massive drop. Now let's compare this with the S&P 500. If Santa invested $100 in the S&P 500 index fund every year for the last 18 years with an average return of 10% annually, your total contributions of $1,800 would have grown to approximately $5,700. It's not as flashy as Bitcoin's billions, but here's the key difference. It's far more stable. The S&P 500 doesn't experience the same wild swings as Bitcoin. Year after year, your investment grows steadily, compounding returns over time. By comparison, Bitcoin offers high potential returns but with extreme volatility, while the S&P 500 offers steady, predictable growth. The choice depends on your risk tolerance, but the numbers make one thing clear. Santa's steady investment in the S&P 500 provides peace of mind, even if it doesn't make headlines. Think about starting your own Santa fund. What small gift could you invest every year to grow your wealth? So there you have it. Whether it's the explosive but unpredictable rise of Bitcoin or the steady, reliable growth of the S&P 500, Santa's gifts have given us a lot to think about when it comes to investing. If you found this breakdown helpful, imagine what other financial scenarios we can unwrap together on Millionaire Hypotheticals. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an opportunity to dive into fascinating money scenarios like this one. From compound interest to wild what-ifs, we've got you covered. And hey, drop a comment below telling us, if Santa gave you one share of anything for the next 18 years, what would you pick? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video, where we turn financial what-ifs into knowledge you can use.